Time for another edition of NBA Fast Break Bets presented by Parlay Play. I am Gino alongside Erik from ETOF21 Sports. We are pulling you up with the full screen today. I've got a weird glare situation going on here, Erik. So rather than distract everyone, let's just go full screen with the odds board as we get set for some of our Tuesday plays. We'll also talk a little bit about Parlay Play. That's a place where you can parlay props legally. So if you're somewhere where you can't wager legally on sports, you can parlay props together with Parlay Play. If you use our promo code NFL Betting Blitz, it will actually give you additional bonuses. Make sure to do so right now. Whatever you're going to deposit, you'll get the match deposit bonus there. NFL Betting Blitz. Erik, my friend, we have two games to discuss today. Just quickly to talk about from yesterday, because it is interesting and how fast things can kind of change in the NBA. The Nuggets are down 0-2 at home. They've lost their first two games at home to the Wolves. And honestly, not even lost. They got their asses kicked, really, in both of them, like beat up. It wasn't like they were close games down the stretch. This happens in sports sometimes when a really great player is rising and kind of taking themselves to the next level. They'll win series like this, or maybe games against good teams that you don't expect. I don't know if anyone thought that Denver was going to look like this in two games, and there's still a series to come, but what was really just interesting to me is last night, as you and I record on Tuesday, Denver played on Monday. That was the first time really that they've had any kind of adversity against them in the playoffs. Last year, everything went smoothly for them. They won all their games. They didn't really have any injuries to deal with. No problems. They beat up on everyone all the way through. This year, they didn't play all that great in the Lakers series. They were down by double digits every game there. They got a little bit lucky to have won two games on buzzer beaters. And Erik, that's just one of those things that whether it's you're playing against better teams or you just can't do that over and over and over again. And they got punched in the face right now, and they're going to really need to bounce back for game 3.
I mean, when we just look at the last 5 champions, Raptors lost second round, your Lakers lost in the first round, Bucks lost in the second round, Warriors lost in the second round. It's hard to maintain these back-to-back type runs.
Yep.
And the Nuggets are kind of figuring it out right now. Obviously, Murray isn't 100%. That's hurting a little bit. The thing that kind of stood out to me, and I'm not even going to talk about the Murray heating pad incident. He should obviously be suspended for that.
Yep.
With how the game was being officiated, they were letting them play. And it seems like the Wolves were using that to their advantage.
Absolutely.
And really playing bully ball with Towns in the post. Malone is supposed to be this great coach. Where was the answer to that? Why were they running pick and roll and dish and kick to Aaron Gordon? Why weren't you playing bully ball with your bigs, with Aaron Gordon, with Djokovic? You should have just
try to get Porter in good situations too, right? Completely agree with you. They looked like a team that was rattled. Like they were so bothered by the officiating, and you pointed it out perfectly. You know what Minnesota did was they played more aggressive. Did Minnesota probably get away with a few more fouls after that? Sure, but they were forcing the officials to call them. And they were playing really aggressive defense. And instead of whining and complaining and bitching, which my team does a lot, the Lakers, because the way the Lakers play, they drive the lane or they go down low to AD or LeBron's driving. There's a lot of, trying to get free throws. Not even as much of like flopping, but just, hey, they play hoping to get fouls, hoping to draw fouls. Denver does a little bit of that, but I was shocked seeing Malone and Murray unraveled.
I mean, the Malone, I get what Malone was doing. That was early in the game.
Trying to get his
tee to fire up the team. I understand what he did. He's not an idiot. That was a calculated thing. But the Murray thing, that's not like some Bush League stuff. He should obviously he should be suspended for that without a doubt.
Yep, that was bad. And then we had a really fun game in the Pacers-Knicks game. I feel like that series is going to be like a back-and-forth series, right? It just kind of feels like teams that aren't that much better than one another. We know the Knicks have to lean on Brunson. Pacers, they're going to get some different contributions here and there. But any quick thought on that one after seeing game one?
I think that's just going to be the thing. It's just going to come down. There's going to be some crazy endings. Ending was a little crazy. A lot of guys who I didn't think was going to play that well. If you're going to tell me TJ O'Connell was going to have 18 points, I would have thought you're a buffoon. But, he shot well. Some other people kind of stepped up that I wasn't expecting it. Should be an interesting series. And, Halliburton only had 6 shots. What is Carlisle going to do to get Halliburton going a little bit more? I mean, DiVincenzo held him to 6 shots. I really expect him to bounce back. I really like his player prop total. That's going to be one of my bets for the next game tomorrow, obviously. I really expect a concentrated effort to kind of get Halliburton going because they can't win a game if he's only getting 6 shots.
Let's talk about Tuesday, what we have coming up today. 2 games, and the first one is going to be the Cavs at the Boston Celtics. So this is game 1 of this series. For Boston, they will be without Porzingis. They're a 12.5-point favorite in here. Jared Allen, do we know as we record right now on Tuesday at about 4:30?
Nope, game time.
So
game time
that,
decision.
And for me, that's going to come into
one of my the line is kind of indicated because this was 11.5 this morning.
Yeah.
Kind of indicated like what is going on with him not playing.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to lean that into one of my plays here, Eric. God, I will say, been a little bit disappointed in the progression that we've seen from Evan Mobley. When he came into the league from USC, he was really good. And he looked like, he reminded me a lot of like an Anthony Davis type in that he's so good defensively, but he should be able to raise his game to the next level offensively. We just have not seen that from him at all. Now, he did get hurt this year, but I think it has to do a lot with his demeanor. He's just a passive guy. Like his brother was the aggressive one. And so when they played together growing up, it was a perfect match when he played with his brother because his brother was like the go-to scorer. And then Evan would do all the defensive stuff and get the rebounds and do all the stuff that like a star player never does. All that being said, this has to be a matchup where if Cleveland wants to have any success at all, win a game or two, try to keep some of these games close, he has to be someone who has good games, Eric, because there's no Porzingis. And when you just look at what Boston's going to be lining up against him, he should be able to outwork Al Horford. Like he should be able to get rebounds against a Hauser. Like he should be able to get the rebounds, and offensively, he should be someone they can throw the ball down to pick up an easy bucket or two sometimes. I could not believe how low his points plus rebounds combo is. Only 23.5. Like you think about a guy like him and you think it would be like 35.5, like 10. It's only 23.5 points plus rebounds. So that's what I'm going. He went over 2 of the 3 games without Allen. So think about that. If Allen's not playing, you're going to need more Mobley. There's no Porzingis for Boston. He should be able to get tons of rebounds against the Horfords and Hausers of the world against Boston. So I'm going Mobley over 23.5 points plus rebounds. How are you attacking this game tonight, Eric?
I hate myself for what I'm going to say. I laid it. I took the Celtics minus the 11.5. Let's just kind of look at the travel schedule for the Cavs. The 3rd, they were in Orlando. Then they had to fly back to Cleveland, play on the 5th. Now on the 7th, you're going to Boston. That's a real quick turnaround. There's this historic trend where teams that are coming off a 7-game series since 1988 are 38% against the number in game 1. Why is that? Emotional game 7, letdown, going to travel to play in a game 1. Cavaliers for the playoffs, 12th field goal percentage shooting, 15th 3-point percentage shooting 14th in rebounding, and 16th 3 points per game, all on short rest. All the stats I just read have to do with legs and lift. Those numbers should decrease because these guys' legs are going to be tired. Celtics have the best 3-point shooting team in the league. Flip side, the Cavs were bottom 10 in the league defending the 3. JV Bickerstaff, a whopping 1-8 on the road as an underdog. He, as an underdog overall, he is 2-10 ATS, and only one of those was a straight up win. This is one of the few spots where the Celtics are actually going to have a distinct coaching advantage. I think they get blown out. It wouldn't surprise me if the Cavs lose by 20 or 30. So I did the Cavs here minus 11.5. Also,
Boston can't. I mean, this. Can I ask you honestly? And I was thinking about it, and I know it's hard to go back in time because this happens every year. Every year there are injuries, right? Every year, key guys and key playoff matchups and games get hurt. I don't think I can ever remember one team having an easier road to an NBA Finals than how Boston is set up this year with all of the teams around them. You go from 2 all the way down. I mean, the 2 seed was the Knicks. They played without Randall, and they were missing even a lot of their guys aren't 100% healthy right now, but they are missing Randall, obviously. The 3 seed was the Bucks. They were without Giannis and Dame, obviously. The 4 seed here is this Cavs team. They're not good at all. They barely were able to beat Orlando as the 5, and this Cavs team really hasn't even been that healthy. We don't know. We know Jared Allen's not playing. Mitchell was not healthy the last stretch of the season. The Magic, super young team. There was no chance that was like going to be a legitimate playoff team. The 6 was the Pacers. They're not like a legitimate playoff team really either. And then the 7 and 8 were a banged up Miami and a banged up Philly. I can never remember a situation where one team had every other team below them dealing with massive injuries. Now Boston's dealing with one too with Porzingis, but I mean, they have an opportunity, Erik, to just cakewalk through playing no real teams at all. And sometimes you got to be good and sometimes you got to be lucky, but this is like jarring.
Yeah, I mean, but it's one of those things. You can't blame them for that.
No,
they didn't.
Not at all.
It is what it is. And it's just the way the cookie crumbled. Unfortunately, Boston does have a history of blowing these opportunities. We'll see. Does Cleveland have enough talent to kind of make this interesting? Yeah, but sure. I really don't trust Bickerstaff. I got one more play in this game. I'm going with Donovan Mitchell under 27.5 points coming in, 3rd game and 5th in 5 games. The 2 games before, of the possible 96 minutes, he's played 89. He has a visible limp. He's visibly not 100% on the court. Now you're going to be defended against Holiday, White, and Brown, and also you can throw Tatum at him. I just think it's a tough matchup for him. I think he's really going to be tired. I think he's going to have no legs, and it wouldn't surprise me if Bickerstaff is smart. You just pull all the starters early in the 3rd and just kind of rest them up in hopes that game 2 you can bounce back. Because the last thing you want to do is have this be a 20-point game in the 3rd and just kind of
gets hurt. You know what I
mean? You can kind of roll up your sleeves, wave the white flag. I'm going to think there's going to be some shooting regression. It's coming off 2 back-to-back games where he scored over 40, 52 points 52 games ago. Celtics are one of the better defensive teams. Obviously, I think they're going to make a concentrated effort to take him out. So I did under the 27.5.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this last night too. If you was looking at the way the teams were in the first round and who they had playing, if you were going to do a draft of just teams from like the East and the West, you'd probably pick Boston towards the top 2 or 3, depending on who you liked. You might take every other team in the West as like a team that was good enough to win it all versus any team. Like you might go 9 teams and you would pick 8 West teams and 1 East team with Boston. It's just as far as how teams were when the playoffs started, how healthy they were, how good those teams were. And it wasn't always that way. It got really weird in the last couple months. You're watching some of these East series and it just seems like a totally different like sport sometimes than some of the West teams that were when they play at their top. And speaking of those teams, Erik, we have a new series tipping off tonight. Mavericks at the Thunder. Thunder are a 3.5-point favorite here. God, it feels like they haven't played in forever for OKC as they got through the Pelicans very quickly. For Dallas, they will be without one of their bigs. Kleber is out. But Erik, that to me kind of just leads into one of the plays I have. I'm going to lean on PJ Washington. Without Kleber, he's the big that they'll have stretch. So he's someone that they will, I think, need more to play even more minutes because he's their stretch big, which they don't have the other one to go to. His over-under for combined points rebounds was 18.5 at plus 118. It's an adjusted combo. So I just think he's going to be on the court more, Erik. He's going to be getting more minutes here. And the one thing we know about Oklahoma City, they're not very big. That's where they struggle is rebounds, kind of second chance points. I think he'll be able to, get a 12-8 type of game. Like, that's fine. We don't need a monster game from him, but you get 3 or 4 rebounds and you're able to put those back in. Let's go PJ Washington over 18.5 points plus the rebounds. Talk to us about your plays in the Thunder versus the Mavs tonight.
I really wanted to get to the Thunder -3, but I just couldn't get myself to do it. I may add it if it gets down to 3, but kind of didn't have the gusto to pull it. But I did do Lively over the 6.5 rebounds. I got this at plus 110. We saw the last 2 games of the Clippers. He started to play more than Gafford. Those last 2 games, Lively led the Mavericks in potential rebounds and rebounds per game. Luka is banged up. Since his injury, he is 3rd on the team on potential rebounds per game. So he's not really crashing the glass that much to avoid the physicality. Thunder for the season gave up the 5th most rebounds per game to opposing centers. You mentioned it. They're really weak on the interior of the Thunder. For as good as Chet Holmgren is, you can kind of bang him up. I was going back and forth between who to play between Gafford and Lively. I ended up on Lively just because Gafford is a little bit banged up. I think Lively's going to play more minutes. I think where you can get the 6.5 rebounds, get that plus money. Also, when looking at future prices, Gafford's 20-1 and Lively is 35-1 to lead the series of rebounding. With Luka banged up, you can play both, and you're essentially getting like a 10-1 number. So if you put half a unit on both, play those, you're basically getting a 10-1 number. So I would do that as well. But in the game, I only did Lively over the 6.5 boards.
For all of you out there looking for some action, head to parlayplay.io. Use that promo code NFL Betting Blitz, and you can get involved with playing parlays and getting nice boosts for your money here. Better odds than you would get if you play parlays anywhere else. Erik, I went for the Mobley over the points plus the rebounds. I went for the PJ Washington over the points plus the rebounds. What about for you with your parlays today?
I just did the Mitchell points under and the Lively point rebounds over.
Erik, we will be back tomorrow, Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. to discuss the Wednesday NBA games. Good luck to all of you out there with all of your plays. We wish you the best of luck, and we encourage you to head on over to parlayplay.io. So for Wednesday, we'll just have one game. It'll be Pacers-Knicks as they travel back for the Denver game, right? So they'll get an extra day off. Nuggets, T-Wolves, that game actually won't be till Friday. So we'll have one game on Wednesday just the Pacers and the Knicks. Then on Thursday, we'll have these same 2 games from these series back for Thursday. And then Friday, we'll pick back up with the Nets and the Mavs. Good luck out there, everyone. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday right here on Fast Break Bets.